GK here. Here we have a straight 6, HG straight 6, GK 600. Basically, this is for a buddy of mine that actually lives where my mother was actually grew up at, where she grew up at, out there around the North Carolina area. And I know he's been waiting a while for this, and all I can do is just absolutely give my unbelievable, deepless apologies for how long this has took. I mean, I know y'all probably get sick and tired. I have to hear this over and over again, but I made a big mistake and took on way too much work about 2 years ago. 2 years to a year and a half ago, and have been paying for it deeply ever since, and it don't let up to the very end, even though we're literally right here at the finish line of being caught up here. There's only a few more projects and I am hitting the reset button, but a couple of guys like this poor fella, you know, had to have a lot more time tacked on than anticipated. And I know he got a little upset with me, which is you know, I would have been too. I'm just glad you hung in there with me through all this. And basically, in the beginning, the way the project was going to be done, he had requested a 1 driving 6 staged. And as the project went on, he changed his mind about the staging. But after he had changed his mind about the staging, I had actually already soldered the driver transistor down, which is no big deal. The way I look at it, I'm just going to leave it right here, the driver transistor. It's matched with the rest of them. If you ever, in the future, blow a pill or something, you can just take this transistor right here and remove it and replace it. Or in the future, if you ever do decide you do want a driver section, you've already got a transistor put in there. So I just thought I'd leave it in there, just leave it be. So he changed his mind, just wanted a straight 6, and this is the style 6 transistor amplifier that I go by. This is the type of combination and splitting is basically a hybrid style combination. They call them hybrid combiners. You can say it's a borderline hybrid combination system. It's still not implementing the step up or step down transformers connected with the ports, but this is the way it was actually taught by me, by Mr. Stickman many years ago, and this has always worked very well with my 6 transistor design, so I'm gonna stick with it, excuse me. So we got you a straight to the point 6 pill here, man, that's rocking and rolling. She's doing good. And another thing, he basically did not want this in a case. This is actually the first time I've ever had this requested. He didn't want this in a case. He just wanted the amp board itself, and he wanted it because he was going to be putting it in a case himself and a base setup. So basically all I could do at that point, since this is not in an enclosure, I had to hook up what I call leader lines, and basically leader lines are coax, you know, that's designed to, you know, hook into certain points, feed points of amplifiers. Basically coax with an SO239 on one end of it, and on the other end it's split so I can solder it into place. This is just what I call leader lines. So basically I've got 2 pieces of coax hooked up for the input and the output. You know, I do understand once he puts it into place, you know, the tune could change a tad bit. Hopefully it won't change by much, as long as you know, keep everything at, you know, electrical links. These leader links are cut by electrical VP, by their velocity factor. But if there is any issues once you get it into the box and you notice a little bit too much input or output reflect, You probably won't have much issues on the output, but if you have any kind of input reflect rise up on you or anything, as you'll see here is the input loading cap right here. This is the input tuning cap. It normally tunes out to 180 or so on a Toshiba box. This right here tuned out about 205 picofarad. So there's a 205 picofarad cap on it right here. So, but this is your tuning point for the input right here on this port. So that, you know, if you ever did need to put a trimmer or something and take that off, that's where you would do it at. I cannot believe I just did that. Let's see here. Sometimes it just happens, but last time I was able to actually get back out of it. This is crazy. I don't even know what this is in the camera. I've never figured out how to. I'm about to get me another phone. I'm about sick of this stuff, man. I don't even know if this is a function of the camera or not. Alright, I'm just going to press pause and start back over. I'm sorry about that. Press stop, I mean. Looks kind of cool, don't it? It's kind of zoomed in on some parts. How does that look on the camera? There's a camera right there. Let me put it right here and zoomed in or something. I don't like that. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, sorry about that. I don't sometimes when I'm zoom in and zoom out it happens. I don't really know how it does that. But anyway, here's your output tuning load right here. Believe it or not, this actually tuned out to around 150 or so, about 152 I think, which was unique. It usually tunes out to about 82 to 100 on the Toshiba boxes, but these are HGs, so the tune can be a little different, which is understandable. So got you a good doorknob right there, man. Usually I'm pretty good. The way these tune out, I'm usually able to use a doorknob or some high voltage ceramic disc because of the value of the tune. I usually have some stuff in stock for that. But so here's your lines right here, of course, that you'll be putting to. Of course, if you need to unsolder these and put coax to them, you can. I had to go ahead and put solder splats right here for the leader lines. I try not to put any solder, like when I'm tuning or something. I try to only put solder down or use another solder pad to not, so you won't have no, you know, pieces of solder on the board where there's nothing at and make it look tacky. But that I just couldn't get over it. I had to do this. I had to put that on there to solder the leader line. But so anyway, I'm pretty much can tell you see what's going on here. So let's get on to the point, man. And real glad the way it turned out. Just straightforward 6 transistor amplifier, kind of a mid-Q style. All right, I've got it hooked up to the unregulated 100 amp supply over here, and it's sucking it dry. It's sucking it dry. I'm gonna have to hook it up on the bigger supply, but I'm just gonna key it real quick. This is down on 13.3 volts or something. It's sucking it dry, and we're on the bench radio. Got the 2-pill driver here, 1446 2-pill. Making you see, man, this thing's banging in just the peak watts already. If you're a peak fan, 2500 watt slug. The driver's on 14.4 volts, by the way. Yeah, 14.4. That's 2500 watt slug. You're looking at the top scale. See, it's already doing 1700 watts peak. Whew. I'm telling you, man, these boxes doing it this style with this hybrid style combiners, they're bad to the bone. I ain't gonna lie to you, they are bad to the bone. All right, I just wanted to show you that real quick on that, just to show you it's sucking it dry. Ooh, 13.6 volts. If I hit this thing with any more drive or go to the hot radio, it's going to be sucking that thing down to 12 volts. So I'm going to go ahead and press pause, hook it up on the bigger supply. Right now, just at this amount of amperage and voltage on 13.3 or whatever it was at, 13, I can't even remember. I got bad short-term memory sometime. Wherever it was at just then, it's only doing about 450, 500 bird right now. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on the adequate supply, which I may just have to quick key this because I don't know if it's going to be enough to pull this supply down to a good safe operating voltage. Y'all just stick with me. I got some plans to get me some big regulated supplies built, which I've been needing very badly, but I've been so stuck working on these backlogged orders, you know, and I do every order, every build is a personal build, you know. I just don't speed through this stuff. Every build is personal to me, you know, and that's the way I like it to be. And oh yeah, just before I forget, of course, this is your on and off wire for your switch on and off. I've just got it twisted together for you, of course. One wire's coming from the hot bus, which you can actually see right there. I didn't go to all the trouble of actually having it like I would in a regular build. But, so this right here, you will just put on your switch, okay? You just put that on your switch. And you can use a continuity meter after you untwist these together to figure out which one is soldered to the hot bus and which one's soldered to the, just find the one soldered to the hot bus and the other one soldered to the relay. So, alright, I'll be right back. Alrighty. Just to show you with the 4-watt radio, 4-watt bench radio. Like I said before, this is what it's doing RMS. And then we'll go ahead and put the good Stickman tune radio on there and let you see what it's doing with some decent drive. Go! So she's getting close to 600 birds just from hooking up a bigger supply, which she's now getting 15.6 volts, which is, you know, right there about borderline. I wouldn't personally run HGs that high myself. So right there close to 600. I ain't trying to stay on the key too long. Alright, let me go ahead and hook up the Stickman radio and see what she's doing after that, man, and we'll be done. I'll be right back. Alrighty. I looked over there and I don't have my Stickman radio hooked up right now. I actually got my derail radio hooked up. And just for the fun of it, I thought I'd hit it real quick, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys watching out here already know what it's going to do. No peak watts, y'all. No peak watts. HGs, GK, 600. 600 stands for 600 bird, of course. 1000-watt slug. Go like it ain't nothing. In the corner, 1000 watts RMS. 1000 watts RMS. Go like it ain't nothing, son. Woo! Raw power, baby. Alright, let me unhook this thing and hook up the old Stickman radio, man. I'm pretty sure he ain't going to be driving that much balls to wall RF NOS juice up in this thing, but seeing 6 HGs do 1000 bird, it puts a little thump in my trunk, if you know what I'm talking about. I'll be right back. Alrighty, here's the Stickman radio, which is putting double the amount RMS wise that my bench radio was putting into it, and the derail radio is putting 16 bird into the driver right here. So it was probably doing close to 1200 bird just then. A lot of you are like, how could 6 pills do it? They can if you drive the piss out of them, but I don't suggest running them like that in everyday use. If this was my box, I'd probably just run something equivalent to the bench radio, 4 or 5 bird, and just let it do about 500-600 bird and just let it roll. That's the way I like to run my stuff. But here's the Stickman radio putting 8 bird into the 1446 box, which is, I have no idea what's putting into this. Probably close to 100 watts. Probably close to 100 watts. 1000-watt slug. Go. 800 bird. Man, I love these 6-bill designs. Hey, what's this thing talking if you're out there just talking, just letting the mop flop? Go. Nice. Talking 600 to 700 bird, hitting 800 bird on the peaks with that much drive. With no heat, man. No heat at all. I'm gonna tell you, man, doing these designs right here, it took a lot of learning. There was a learning curve with it. There was definitely a learning curve. And just for some of you other builders out there taking a look at this old school hybrid combining type style that don't agree with the combination style that the old Motorola came up with, you can't change the shape of the wheel. It's got to always be circular. You know, if you just take a look and see how, you know, what's going on, I mean, it's all the same style type of combination. It's just need a little bit more inductance when you do it like this. And sometimes you can't get that with the regular ferrite offered to you. Sometimes you got to go off the grid a little bit and play around with some other ideas. But it was a bit of a learning curve to get these to work right. But when you do have them working right, boy, do they work right. Alrighty, man. Well, I hope you enjoy, dude, and I hope this thing lasts you from here to Kingdom Comes. Mr. GK, the Gatekeeper, putting one more street sweeper out there on the streets to knock them ducks in the back of the head. We gone now. Bye-bye, 73rds. Peace.